Deep space held no mercy for the weak. Admiral Crix knew this truth better than most. His war fleet moved through the darkness like hungry predators searching for their next meal. The hegemony had ruled this section of the galaxy for 300 years. Every planet they found became theirs. Every species they met either bowed down or died. The bridge of his flagship buzzed with quiet activity. Officers with multiple arms and insect-like eyes worked at their stations. Their technology was the most advanced in known space. Their weapons could crack planets in half. Their shields could stop almost anything the universe threw at them. "Admiral!" called Officer Narn from his position at the sensor station. His voice carried excitement. "We have found something interesting, a new star system with signs of life." Crix turned his 4 eyes toward the main screen. The tactical display showed a small yellow star with several planets orbiting around it. One planet glowed with the heat signatures of cities and industrial activity. "Tell me more about these aliens," Crix ordered. Narn's claws clicked rapidly over his controls. "The species calls itself human. They live on the 3rd planet from their star. They have basic space travel and simple energy weapons. Their largest ships are tiny compared to ours. This should be an easy conquest." The Admiral felt satisfaction flow through him. Another primitive world to add to the hegemony empire. These humans would learn to serve or they would become extinct. It made no difference to him. "Prepare the full battle fleet," he commanded. "We will show these humans the power of the hegemony." 500 warships dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the human solar system. Each vessel stretched over 2 miles long and carried enough firepower to destroy small moons. The fleet formed into perfect attack formation as they moved deeper into the system. The humans responded quickly. A single ship broke away from their home planet and moved to intercept the hegemony fleet. It looked pathetic compared to the alien armada. The human vessel appeared to be built from metal scraps welded together. Its hull showed signs of repair work and battle damage. "One ship?" Officer Tolk laughed from her station. "These humans must be even more primitive than we thought." Crix examined the approaching vessel through his sensors. The ship measured only 800 feet long. Its weapons seemed basic. Its engines produced crude fusion exhaust. Its armor looked thin and weak. "Open communications," the Admiral ordered. "Let us speak to these foolish humans." The main screen flickered and showed the interior of the human ship. A middle-aged man with gray hair and tired eyes sat in what appeared to be a command chair. The human bridge looked cramped and outdated. Exposed cables ran along the walls. The equipment appeared old and well used. "Unknown alien fleet?" The human spoke in a calm voice. "I am Captain Reed of the Earth Defense Ship Defiance. You have entered our space without permission. State your business or leave immediately." The hegemony bridge crew made clicking sounds that passed for laughter among their species. This single human was threatening their entire armada. The arrogance was almost amusing. "I am Admiral Crix of the Hegemony 4th Fleet," he announced. "Your world now belongs to our empire. Surrender immediately and your people will be allowed to serve us. Resist, and we will turn your planet into dust." Reed leaned back in his chair. His expression showed no fear. "Let me guess your story, Admiral. You travel from world to world conquering primitive species. You have never faced real resistance. You think Earth will be just another easy victory. You understand your situation well, human." "Oh, I understand perfectly." Reed's eyes grew cold. "The question is whether you understand yours. This is your only warning. Turn your ships around and leave our system. Do not come back." More clicking laughter filled the hegemony bridge. This human captain showed impressive courage, but complete stupidity. One small ship could not stand against 500 advanced. Warships! You dare threaten the hegemony with that tiny vessel? Crix asked. Our weakest destroyer carries more weapons than your entire world could build. Reed smiled, but the expression held no warmth. One ship, yes. But you made your first mistake when you assumed we were as primitive as we look. You made your second mistake when you assumed this was our only ship. Suddenly, the space around, the alien fleet filled with new contacts. Dozens of human ships appeared from nowhere. They had been hiding behind asteroids, inside gas clouds, and even within the rings of outer planets. Each vessel looked as crude and battle-worn as the Defiance, but their numbers kept growing. Stealth technology, Officer Narn reported with disbelief. Advanced stealth technology. I count over 70 enemy vessels. Crix felt the first touch of concern. His fleet still outnumbered the humans by 7-1, but these people had demonstrated surprising tactical skill. They had laid a trap and waited for the perfect moment to spring it. Impressive deception, the Admiral admitted. But numbers still favor the hegemony. You cannot hope to defeat our superior technology and firepower. Superior technology? Reed asked. Captain Blake, would you care to demonstrate our technological advancement? Another voice came over the communication channel. With pleasure, Captain Reed. All ships prepare for combat operations. Remember the Thermopylae Doctrine. What? Is this Thermopylae Doctrine? Crix demanded. Reed's smile grew wider and more dangerous. It means we do not plan to win this battle through superior numbers or advanced technology. We plan to win by being more willing to die than you are willing to kill us. It means every human ship will fight until it explodes. It means we will use our vessels as guided missiles if necessary. It means we would rather see our entire fleet destroyed than let one alien ship reach Earth. The human captain paused to let his words sink in. You came here expecting to find sheep. Instead, you found wolves. Hungry, angry wolves defending their pack. Officer Tolk studied her sensors with growing alarm. Admiral, the human ships are moving into attack formation. Their energy readings are increasing beyond safe levels. They appear to be overloading their reactor systems. That will destroy their ships, Narn observed. Only if they lose control, Reed replied, somehow hearing the conversation. We humans have learned to ride the edge of disaster. Our ships may look crude, but they are built to take punishment and keep fighting. More importantly, they are crewed by people who refuse to surrender. Crix realized he had made a serious error in judgment. These humans were not like other species the hegemony had conquered. They possessed a savage determination that bordered on madness. They would rather die fighting than live as slaves. Last chance, Admiral, Reed said quietly. Leave now or discover. Why no species has ever successfully invaded Earth. The hegemony Admiral looked at his tactical display. 73 human ships against 500 alien vessels. The mathematics still favored his forces, but something deep in his mind whispered warnings. These humans felt different. They felt dangerous. All ships, Crix ordered. Prepare for battle operations. Show these primitives the price of defying the hegemony. Space erupted into chaos as both fleets engaged. The hegemony warships opened fire with their most powerful weapons. Beams of pure antimatter lanced across the void, each shot capable of vaporizing a city. Energy bolts that could melt mountains streaked toward the human vessels. The human response defied all logic and military doctrine. Instead of forming defensive lines or using evasive maneuvers, They accelerated directly toward the alien fleet. Their crude fusion drives somehow pushed their ships to impossible speeds. The human vessels moved like angry wasps attacking a much larger enemy. 40 gravities of acceleration, Officer Tolk reported in disbelief. No organic crew can survive such forces. The humans should be unconscious or dead. Admiral Crix watched the tactical display with growing confusion. The human ships not only survived the crushing acceleration, they seemed to thrive on it. They twisted and rolled through space like living creatures, avoiding the worst of the hegemony fire through pure agility. The first human ship to reach the alien line was a destroyer called Retribution. It ignored the massive dreadnought firing at it and dove straight for a hegemony cruiser. Antimatter beams struck its hull but scattered harmlessly off some kind of adaptive shielding. "Their defensive systems are learning," Officer Narn called out. "The human shields adapt to our weapon frequencies faster than we can adjust them." "Then use different weapons," Crix ordered. "I am trying, but they counter every change within seconds." The Retribution crashed through the cruiser's shields, like they were made of paper. Instead of using energy weapons or missiles, the human ship unleashed something far more primitive and terrifying. Metal slugs accelerated to incredible speeds punched through the alien hull. The kinetic weapons moved so fast, they turned solid. Armor into liquid metal. "Impossible," Admiral Crix breathed. "Those are simple projectiles. How can they achieve such velocities?" Captain Reed's voice crackled over the communication system. "We call it brute force engineering, Admiral. Most species worry about safety margins and efficiency ratings. We just build bigger reactors and stronger magnetic accelerators. If our ships explode, we build new ones. If our crews die, more volunteers take their place." More human vessels engaged the hegemony fleet. Each one demonstrated the same terrifying philosophy. They pushed their technology beyond any reasonable limit. Their reactors ran at power levels that should have caused immediate meltdown. Their weapons fired at rates that should have melted the barrels. Their shields absorbed damage that should have overwhelmed any defensive system. "These humans are insane," Officer Tolk whispered. "They treat their own ships like suicide weapons." "Not suicide," came another voice over the communication channel. "We prefer the term aggressive tactics. This is Commander Blake of the Destroyer Vengeance. We are about to demonstrate what happens when humans get really angry." The Vengeance had taken heavy damage from 3 hegemony frigates. Its hull showed massive breach points. Atmosphere vented from dozens of holes. Any reasonable crew would have abandoned ship or surrendered. Instead, the Vengeance used its own damage as a weapon. The human ship deliberately ruptured its main fuel tank and ignited the escaping plasma. The resulting explosion turned the destroyer into a guided bomb that crashed into the nearest alien frigate. Both ships vanished in a ball of nuclear fire. "They destroyed their own vessel to kill one of ours," Crix said in shock. "Acceptable losses," Reed replied calmly. "We have more ships. More importantly, we have more people willing to crew them. Every human in this system volunteered to die rather than let you reach Earth." The battle continued to unfold in ways that violated every principle of civilized warfare. Human ships used gravity wells to slingshot themselves into impossible attack angles. They detonated their own reactors as improvised nuclear weapons. They rammed larger alien vessels at relativistic speeds, turning both ships into expanding clouds of superheated gas. But the most disturbing aspect was not their tactics, it was their attitude. The humans seemed to be enjoying themselves. Their communication channels carried music and laughter even as their ships died around them. They treated the desperate battle like some kind of violent game. "Admiral," Communications Officer Heck reported nervously, The humans are broadcasting on all frequencies. It appears to be some kind of primitive war song. Indeed, crude music filled the communication channels. The lyrics spoke of defiance and heroism. They sang about standing against impossible odds and making enemies pay for every victory. The humans were actually singing while they died. "This is not how warfare should be conducted," Crix muttered. "Where is their fear? Where is their survival instinct?" "Perhaps they left those behind when they decided to become warriors," Reed answered. "You see, Admiral, you made another mistake. You assumed we were like other species you have conquered. You thought we would value our lives more than our freedom." A new tactical alert drew Crix's attention. The human home planet was powering up some kind of massive energy system. Orbital platforms that had appeared to be simple space stations were linking together in a complex geometric pattern. The energy readings were off the scale. "What are they doing?" the Admiral demanded. "Building a really big gun," Captain Reed replied cheerfully. "We learned long ago that the best defense is overwhelming offense. If someone threatens Earth, we do not just fight back. We make sure they never want to fight us again." The planetary defense system finished charging. Earth itself seemed to glow with barely contained energy. The orbital platforms had formed a massive focusing array that drew power from the planet's fusion reactors and solar collection systems. "Stellar engineering," Officer Tolk breathed. "They have turned their entire world into a fortress." "Not just the world," Blake corrected over the communication system. "The whole solar system is one big weapons platform. Every asteroid, every moon, every space station can fight. We do not believe in purely defensive installations." As if to prove his point, the seemingly harmless asteroid belt began to move. Chunks of rock that had appeared natural suddenly revealed. Hidden engines and weapons systems. Mining platforms in the outer system rotated to reveal massive magnetic accelerators. Even civilian transport ships began broadcasting military identification codes. "You have militarized your entire civilization," Crix realized. "Had to," Reed explained. "Earth has a violent history, Admiral. We spent thousands of years fighting each other before we reached the stars. When we finally achieved space travel, we brought our military traditions with us. Every human settlement, every colony, every space station is built to fight. We do not know how to be anything except warriors." The first blast from the planetary defense grid lanced across space. It was not elegant antimatter or exotic particles. It was concentrated solar energy focused into a coherent beam of destruction. The beam struck the lead elements of the hegemony fleet and simply erased them from existence. "Impossible power levels," Narn reported in terror. "They are channeling the energy output of an entire star." "Just our star," Reed corrected. "Wait until you see what we can do with the gas giant fusion reactors." More hegemony ships died as the human defense network revealed its true scope. Hidden. Weapons emerged from every corner of the solar system. What had appeared to be a primitive civilization was actually a fortress designed by paranoid warriors who trusted no one and prepared for everything. Admiral Crix realized he had made the greatest mistake of his military career. He had not encountered a primitive species ripe for conquest. He had stumbled into the territory of apex predators who had spent their entire evolutionary history perfecting the art of violence. "All ships," he ordered desperately, "withdraw to safe distance. We need to reassess this situation." Too late. "For that, Admiral," Captain Reed said quietly. "You came here looking for easy prey. Instead, you found Earth. Now you get to discover why every species that meets humanity learns the same lesson. What lesson? That we are the monsters hiding in the dark between stars, and we do not like uninvited guests. The battle reached a new level of intensity as more human ships joined the fight. Admiral Crix watched in growing horror as his carefully organized fleet began to crumble under the chaotic human assault. These primitives fought like nothing he had ever encountered. They used their own weaknesses as strengths and turned every disadvantage into an opportunity. A hegemony battleship called Dominion Prime engaged 3 human destroyers simultaneously. The alien vessel should have easily destroyed such small opponents. Its antimatter cannons could punch through any known armor. Its shields could deflect the combined firepower of a dozen enemy ships. The humans attacked from 3 different directions at once. The destroyer called Hammer dove straight down from above, while her sister ships Anvil and Forge attacked from the sides. They moved in perfect coordination, despite using no detectable communication signals. "How are they coordinating their attacks?" Officer Tolk demanded. "I detect no data transmissions between their vessels." "Simple," came a new voice over the communication channel. "We train together, we fight together, we die together. This is Lieutenant Commander Stone of the Destroyer Hammer. We are about to show your battleship why size does not always matter." The 3 human ships opened fire simultaneously. Instead of using their main weapons, they launched something far more terrifying. Thousands of small objects streaked toward the hegemony battleship like a metallic swarm. "Kinetic kill vehicles," Officer Narn reported. "Thousands of them. Each. One is a solid tungsten rod accelerated to near light speed." The projectiles struck the battleship's shields in a cascade of brilliant flashes. The first few hundred were deflected harmlessly. Then the shield generators began to overload under the sustained bombardment. More projectiles punched through the weakening defenses. "Impossible," Admiral Crix breathed. "Those are just metal rods. They carry no explosives, no energy weapons. How can simple projectiles be so effective?" "Physics, Admiral," Captain Reed explained patiently. "When you accelerate a chunk of metal to 90% of light speed, it carries more energy than most atomic bombs. We may not have your fancy antimatter technology, but we understand kinetic energy very well." The Dominion Prime shuddered as the tungsten rods punched through its armor. Each impact created a flash of plasma as the projectile converted itself, and part of the ship into pure energy. The massive alien vessel began to drift as its engines failed and its weapon systems went offline. "Engineering miracle," Officer Tolk whispered. "They achieved those velocities with simple magnetic acceleration. The power requirements should be impossible for such small ships." "Nothing is impossible if you are willing to push hard enough," Commander Stone replied. "We just run our reactors at 120% capacity. Most species would consider that dangerously unstable. We call it Tuesday." More hegemony ships fell to the human swarm tactics. The aliens had trained for civilized warfare between organized fleets. They expected enemies to follow logical tactical doctrine and fight in predictable patterns. The humans threw out every rule and fought like wild animals defending their territory. "Admiral," Communications Officer Heck called urgently, "I am detecting massive energy buildup from the human home world. Whatever they are charging, it is drawing power from their entire planetary grid." On the main display, Earth began to glow like a second sun. The orbital defense platforms had linked into a single, enormous focusing array. Energy readings climbed beyond anything the hegemony sensors could measure accurately. "They are going to fire their main planetary weapon," Crix realized. "Not just fire it," Captain Reed corrected cheerfully. We are going to introduce you to the Hammer of Soul. Every human world has one. It is our way of saying hello to uninvited guests. The beam that erupted from Earth was not a weapon in any traditional sense. It was concentrated solar plasma, compressed and focused through gravitational lenses. The stream of stellar fire reached temperatures found only in the cores of stars. It moved at the speed of light and carried enough energy to crack small moons. The beam swept across the hegemony formation like a sword of light. Ships caught in its path simply evaporated. They did not explode or burn. They converted directly into expanding clouds of ionized gas. Entire squadrons vanished in seconds. Stellar manipulation technology, Officer Narn reported in barely controlled panic. They have learned to weaponize their own star. Not weaponize, Blake corrected from his ship. We just learned to focus and direct solar energy. Humans have always been good at taking natural forces and turning them into tools. Fire, wind, water, gravity, nuclear fusion. We find ways to use everything. Admiral Crix realized his fleet was facing something unprecedented. These humans had not simply built weapons. They had turned their entire solar system into an integrated war machine. Every celestial body served a military purpose. Every piece of technology could be pressed into combat service. "How long have you been preparing for invasion?" he asked. "Since we first looked at the stars and wondered what might be looking back," Captain Reed answered. "Humans learned early in our history that the universe is not a friendly place. We prepared for the worst possible scenarios and then prepared for things even worse than that." The Hammer of Saul fired again, sweeping through another section of the hegemony fleet. This time, Admiral Crix noticed something that chilled him to his core. The beam was not firing at random targets. It was systematically eliminating his most powerful ships while avoiding areas where human vessels were fighting. "Precision stellar engineering," he whispered. "They can control a star-powered weapon with surgical accuracy. We can thread a needle with a solar flare if we need to," Commander Stone confirmed. "Humans are very good at breaking things precisely. It comes from thousands of years of practice." The battle was turning into a massacre. The hegemony fleet, which had seemed overwhelmingly powerful just hours before, was being systematically dismantled by opponents who should have been helpless. Every assumption about human capabilities had proven wrong. "Admiral," Officer Tolk reported desperately, "we are losing ships faster than we can count them. The human defense network extends throughout their entire system. Every asteroid, every space station, every piece of debris is potentially a weapon platform." As if to demonstrate her point, the seemingly harmless outer planets began to reveal their true nature. Gas giant mining platforms rotated to expose massive magnetic accelerators. Ice mining operations on distant moons turned out to be camouflaged missile batteries. Even the system's comets had been fitted with guidance systems and warheads. "You militarized everything," Crix said in stunned disbelief. "Everything," Reed confirmed. "Garbage scows carry defensive weapons. Medical ships have combat capabilities. Even our civilian transports can fight if necessary. We do not believe in purely peaceful activities." "Why? Why prepare for war to such extremes?" Reed's voice grew quiet and serious. "Because the alternative is extinction, Admiral. Humans learned long ago that peace is only possible when you are too dangerous to attack. We chose to become the most dangerous species in the galaxy so that we could live in peace." Another wave of kinetic projectiles swept through the hegemony formation. These came from the asteroid belt, which had revealed itself to be a vast network of hidden weapons platforms. Each asteroid was actually a carefully disguised fortress, armed with magnetic accelerators and fusion warheads. "We call it defense in depth," Blake explained as his ship launched another salvo at an alien cruiser. "Every layer of our solar system can fight independently. Even if you destroyed our main fleet, the asteroids would keep fighting. Even if you cleared the asteroids, the outer planets would continue the battle. Even if you somehow conquered the entire system, individual space stations would wage guerrilla warfare for centuries." Admiral Crix finally understood the true scope of his mistake. He had not attacked a primitive world. He had assaulted the home system of a species that had spent millennia preparing for exactly this scenario. Every human settlement, every piece of technology, every aspect of their civilization was designed for warfare. "How many ships have we lost?" he asked quietly. Officer Narn consulted his tactical display with shaking claws. 237. "Vessels destroyed or disabled, Admiral. We are losing the battle." "No," Crix corrected grimly. "We already lost it. We just do not know how badly yet." Panic spread through the hegemony fleet as ship after ship fell to the human defense network. What had begun as a routine conquest was transforming into the worst military disaster in their species' history. Admiral Crix found himself commanding a retreat that was rapidly becoming a rout. "All vessels, fall back to the outer system," he ordered desperately. "Reform at the heliopause and reassess our tactical situation." "Negative on the withdrawal, Admiral," came Captain Reed's calm voice over the communication channel. "You came here uninvited. You threatened our home. You fired on our ships. Now you get to face the consequences." The human fleet had grown during the battle as more vessels appeared from hidden bases throughout the solar system. Mining ships revealed weapon systems. Research vessels deployed military sensors. Even civilian transports began broadcasting military identification codes and joining the combat formation. "How many ships do you have?" Officer Tolk asked in disbelief as her sensors detected another squadron of human vessels emerging from Jupiter's atmosphere. "All of them, Commander," Blake answered from his destroyer. "Every human ship in the system is now part of our defense fleet. We do not distinguish between military and civilian vessels when our home is threatened. Everyone fights." The most disturbing aspect was not their numbers, but their coordination. Despite using dozens of different ship designs and apparently improvised tactics, the humans fought with perfect unity. They anticipated each other's movements and supported each other's attacks without any detectable communication. "Impossible coordination," Officer Narn muttered. "They are operating as a single organism despite having no central command structure." "We call it pack behavior," Reed explained. "Humans evolved as social hunters, Admiral. We instinctively coordinate our attacks and share information without conscious thought. When we fight together, we become something greater than the sum of our parts." A new tactical alert drew Crix's attention to an approaching formation of human vessels. These ships looked different from the others. They were larger, more heavily armored, and moved with ominous purpose. Their energy signatures suggested weapon systems beyond anything the other human ships carried. "Admiral," came a new voice over the communication system. "This is Captain Ford of the battlecruiser Unbreakable. We represent the Sol Defense Reserve Fleet. We have been watching this engagement from the outer system." "Reserve Fleet?" Crix asked weakly. "The ships you have been fighting are our patrol vessels and local defense forces," Ford explained casually. "We keep the serious warships hidden until we need them. Congratulations, Admiral. You have proven dangerous enough to warrant their deployment." The reserve fleet moved into attack formation with mechanical precision. These vessels clearly represented the pinnacle of human military engineering. They were larger than most hegemony ships and carried weapons that made their smaller cousins look primitive by comparison. "Impossible," Officer Tolk whispered. "Our intelligence report said humans had only basic spacefaring technology. These ships demonstrate engineering capabilities equal to or exceeding our own." "Intelligence failures happen when you underestimate your opponents," Captain Reed observed. "You saw our patrol boats and mining vessels. You assumed that represented our full capabilities. You never considered that we might be hiding our real military assets." The lead battlecruiser opened fire with what appeared to be a standard energy weapon. The beam struck a hegemony dreadnought and punched clean through its shields and armor. The alien ship exploded in a brilliant fireball that lit up the surrounding space. "What kind of weapon was that?" Admiral Crix demanded. "Focused antimatter. Beam," Captain Ford replied matter-of-factly. "We studied your technology after previous encounters with hegemony scout ships. We learned to build better versions of your own weapons. Turns out antimatter is not that difficult to produce when you have access to stellar-scale energy sources." More reserve ships engaged the alien fleet. Each one demonstrated capabilities that should have been impossible for a supposedly primitive species. They used weapons based on hegemony technology, but improved beyond recognition. They deployed defenses that adapted to enemy attacks in real time. They moved with an agility that defied their massive size. "Where did you get our technology?" Crix asked desperately. "From your own ships," Reed answered. "The hegemony has been sending scout vessels into this region for decades. Some of them experienced unfortunate accidents. We studied the wreckage and reverse-engineered everything we found interesting. You have been stealing our designs. We prefer the term aggressive technology acquisition," Commander Blake corrected with obvious amusement. "When someone sends armed scouts into our territory, we consider their equipment forfeit. Finders keepers, as we say." The battle had become completely one-sided. Hegemony ships that had seemed invincible were being systematically destroyed by opponents using superior versions of their own technology. The humans had not just copied alien designs, they had improved them beyond recognition. "How did you advance our technology so quickly?" Officer Tolk asked in fascination despite her terror. "We are very good at breaking things and figuring out how they work," Captain Ford explained. "Human engineers have a talent for taking existing technology and pushing it far beyond its original limitations. We see your antimatter beam and ask ourselves how to make it twice as powerful. We examine your shields and wonder how to make them adaptive. We study your engines and find ways to make them more efficient." Admiral Crix realized he was witnessing something unprecedented in galactic history. The humans had not just defeated a superior military force through tactics and determination. They had absorbed alien technology and used it to leapfrog centuries of normal development. "You are a species of thieves and scavengers," he said bitterly. "We are a species of survivors," Reed corrected. "We take whatever we need from whoever threatens us. Your scouts provided us with advanced technology. Your invasion fleet will provide us with even better examples. We will study every ship we capture and use what we learn to become stronger." The implication struck Crix like a physical blow. Even if some hegemony vessels escaped, the humans would salvage the wrecks and learn from them. Every encounter would make them more dangerous. They were not just defending their territory. They were growing stronger with each battle. "Strategic mistake," Officer Narn whispered. "We should never have revealed our capabilities to them. Every weapon we use teaches them how to build better ones. Every tactic we employ shows them our weaknesses," Officer Tolk added. "They learn from everything we do." Learning is what humans do best, Captain Ford confirmed. We are the most adaptable species in known space. Give us a new challenge and we will find 3 different ways to overcome it. Show us superior technology and we will build improved versions within months. More hegemony ships fell to the adaptive human weapons. The aliens had designed their technology to overwhelm primitive opponents through superior firepower. They had never considered facing enemies who could analyze their weapons during combat and develop countermeasures in real time. This is not warfare, Admiral Crick said desperately. This is some kind of technological vampirism. You consume everything you encounter and make it part of yourselves. Evolution in action, Admiral, Reed replied. Humans have always been opportunistic, predators. We take whatever advantages we can find and use them to survive. Your technology, your tactics, your strategies, all of it becomes ours when you bring it into our territory. The reserve fleet had completed its deployment and began coordinating with the local defense forces. Human ships that had appeared primitive hours earlier now fought alongside vessels that rivaled the best hegemony designs. The entire human fleet was learning and adapting in real time. How many of our ships will you need to study? Crix asked quietly. All of them, Captain Ford answered without emotion. Every vessel you brought here will either be destroyed or captured. We will examine every piece of technology, every weapon system, every defensive measure. By the time we finish analyzing your fleet, we will know your capabilities better than you do. Admiral Crix finally understood the true horror of his situation. He had not just led his fleet into a trap. He had delivered advanced hegemony technology directly into the hands of the most dangerous species in the galaxy. The humans would use everything they learned to become even more formidable opponents. The few remaining hegemony ships found themselves surrounded by an ever-growing swarm of human vessels. There would be no escape, no survivors to carry word of this disaster back to their home worlds. The humans intended to capture or destroy every alien ship in their territory. This ends only one way, Crick said quietly. Yes, Reed agreed grimly. With all of you either dead or wishing you were. The final phase of the battle was not really a battle at all. It was a systematic execution carried out with ruthless efficiency. The surviving hegemony ships found themselves trapped in an ever-tightening net of human vessels. Every attempt at escape was blocked by hidden weapon platforms or freshly arrived reinforcements. Admiral Crix watched his proud fleet die ship by ship. The humans showed no mercy and took no prisoners. They destroyed every vessel that resisted and disabled every ship that attempted to surrender. Within hours, the mighty hegemony Fourth Fleet had been reduced to floating debris and captured hulks. Admiral, Officer Narn reported with a voice empty of hope, we have lost 423 ships. Only 77 vessels remain operational, and most of those are badly damaged. Crix closed his 4 eyes and tried to process the magnitude of his failure. He had led the largest invasion fleet in hegemony history into what amounted to a carefully prepared slaughter. These humans had not just defeated him, they had made it look effortless. Open a channel to the human commander, he ordered quietly. Captain Reed's weathered face appeared on the main screen. His expression showed no satisfaction at his victory, only grim determination to finish what the hegemony had started. I assume you wish to discuss surrender terms, Reed said without emotion. What terms? Crix asked bitterly. You have made it clear that you take no prisoners and show no mercy. That depends on whether you are willing to learn from this experience, Reed replied. The question is simple, Admiral. Do you want your remaining ships to join the debris field, or do you want to carry a message back to your empire? For the first time since the battle began, Crix felt a flicker of hope. What message? That Earth is permanently off limits to the hegemony, that this solar system is defended by forces you cannot comprehend or defeat, that any future incursion will result in consequences far worse than what you have experienced today. Commander Blake's voice joined the conversation from his destroyer. We want your people to understand something very important, Admiral. This was not our full strength. This was just our local defense force responding to an unexpected threat. What do you mean? Officer Tolk asked in a voice barely above a whisper. Earth has colonies throughout this region of space, Captain Ford explained from his battle cruiser. Each one is defended by fleets similar to what you encountered here. Some of our settlements have even more advanced weapons systems. A few of our military research stations could have destroyed your entire armada without assistance. The implications struck Admiral Crix like a series of physical blows. The humans were not just defending a single world. They had established a military presence throughout local space. They possessed multiple fleets, advanced research facilities, and weapons beyond his comprehension. How large is your territory? He asked weakly. Large enough, Reed answered. We control 17 star systems and maintain military bases in 30 more. Our exploration fleets are currently surveying another 40 systems for potential colonization. We have been expanding steadily for the past century. Impossible. Our intelligence networks would have detected such expansion. Your intelligence networks detect what we allow them to detect, Commander Blake corrected. We are very good at remaining invisible when we choose to. Most species never realize we are in their neighborhood until we decide to introduce ourselves. Captain Ford added his own disturbing information. We have been observing hegemony activities for decades, Admiral. We know the locations of your major fleet bases, your supply routes, your industrial centers, and your home worlds. We have detailed intelligence on your military capabilities and strategic weaknesses. You have been spying on us while we remained ignorant of your existence, Crix realized. Intelligence gathering is a survival skill, Reed explained. We learned early that knowledge is the ultimate weapon. Before we fight an enemy, we study them completely. We know their strengths, their weaknesses, their tactics, and their technology. By the time we engage in actual combat, the outcome is already determined. Officer Narn studied his sensor readings with growing alarm. Admiral, I am detecting additional human ships arriving from outside the system. Dozens of them. They appear to be military vessels from other colonies. Reinforcements, Captain Ford confirmed casually. We sent word to nearby settlements when your fleet first appeared. Military doctrine requires mutual support between human colonies. An attack on one settlement is considered an attack on all of them. The new arrivals were impressive even by human standards. These were clearly frontline military vessels designed for interstellar warfare. They carried weapons that made the local defense fleet look primitive. Their hulls showed the scars of previous battles against unknown opponents. You have been fighting other wars, Admiral Crix observed. Continuously, Reed admitted. The galaxy is not a peaceful place, Admiral. We encounter hostile species on a regular basis. Pirates, slavers, aggressive empires like yours. We have learned to deal with all of them. How many enemies do you face? Currently, 17 different hostile species maintain active operations against human settlements. We are engaged in ongoing conflicts with 12 separate pirate organizations. 3 major galactic empires have declared us enemies of their states, and now we can add the hegemony to that list. Commander Blake provided additional context. The difference is that we win our wars, Admiral. Every species that has attacked humanity has learned to regret the decision. Some no longer exist to regret anything. The casual mention of genocide sent chills through the surviving hegemony officers. These humans spoke of destroying entire species as if it were a routine military operation. "You commit xenocide," Officer Tolk whispered in horror. "We commit survival," Captain Ford corrected coldly. "When a species attempts to exterminate humanity, we respond in kind. We do not believe in half measures or limited warfare. Our enemies get one chance to leave us alone. If they refuse that chance, we remove them from the galaxy permanently." Admiral Crix finally understood why no intelligence reports had warned of human capabilities. Any species that encountered them in combat either joined their alliance or ceased to exist entirely. There were no survivors to carry warnings to other civilizations. "How many species have you destroyed?" he asked quietly. "Enough," Reed answered without elaboration. The important question is whether the hegemony wants to join that list or learn to coexist with humanity. "What are your terms for coexistence?" Captain Ford outlined the human position with brutal clarity. "Complete withdrawal from all systems. Within 50 light years of Earth. Immediate cessation of all hostile activities against human colonies. Full disclosure of hegemony military capabilities and strategic plans. And payment of reparations for the cost of defending against your invasion." "Those terms amount to unconditional surrender," Crix protested. "No," Reed corrected. "Unconditional surrender would involve the complete destruction of your empire and the enslavement of your population. These terms allow your species to continue, existing as long as you stay away from human territory." "And if we refuse?" Commander Blake answered with chilling simplicity. "Then we visit your homeworlds and demonstrate why every species in this region has learned to fear humanity. We show you what happens when humans stop playing defense and start playing offense. The threat was not empty bravado. The humans possessed the military capability to carry out their promises. They had demonstrated superior technology, tactical flexibility, and most importantly, the will to use extreme violence when threatened. I will carry your message to the Hegemony High Command," Admiral Crix said finally. "See that you do," Captain Reed replied. "And, Admiral, make sure they understand that this was our polite response to your invasion. If you come back, we will not be nearly so restrained." The surviving hegemony ships limped away from Earth, carrying a message that would reshape galactic politics. Humanity had announced its presence to the galaxy in the most dramatic way possible. They had proven themselves to be apex predators, disguised as primitive mammals. Within a year, every major civilization in the region had received the same warning. Human space was inviolate. Human colonies were protected by forces beyond conventional military understanding. Any species that threatened humanity would face consequences beyond imagination. The galaxy had gained a new apex predator, and unlike previous dominant species, these humans showed no interest in conquest or empire building. They wanted only to be left alone to pursue their own development. But they had demonstrated conclusively that anyone who disturbed their peace would pay a price beyond calculation. Earth became known throughout the galaxy by a simple designation that needed no translation, the place where arrogant empires went to die. And in the depths of space, human colonies continued to expand quietly, carrying with them the promise of swift and terrible retribution for anyone foolish enough to threaten their homes. The hegemony never returned to human space. Neither did any other aggressive species. The lesson had been learned. Humanity was not prey. They were the hunters, and they had claimed their territory with the blood of those who challenged them. The age of easy conquest was over. The age of humanity had begun.